You can watch Wolves versus Liverpool on Now TV for just €10. So what's stopping you? Putting up more Christmas decorations? Your house already looks like Santa's grotto. A family party? Your Aunt Mary has seen you 4 times this week already. What a fixture! Don't let anything get in your way. To treat yourself to a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass and watch the games that matter to you for just €10, search Now TV Football today. Content streamed by internet, full terms at nowtv.com.
Views and opinions of any of the guests of After Hours AM are not necessarily the views and opinions of After Hours AM, its hosts, its staff, or any of its affiliates.
Welcome to the After Hours program.
Are you
Now broadcasting live from the After Hours AM studio, Joel Sturgis and Eric Olson.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of After Hours AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me, as always,
Eric Olson.
Eric. Only a few more days to the big shindig at the Aurora School of Music, right?
Right. 2 more days. Saturday, 5 to 9, but I'm guaranteeing you, it'll go past 9.
Yeah. Well, we've been spreading the word and stuff like that, so you can also tune in. If you can't be there live, which a lot of our listeners won't be able to, but if you can be there, definitely make
the
every
vast
effort.
Majority will not be able to.
Well, that's the problem.
We don't blame you.
We don't blame you at all, but you can also tune in and watch the live stream at the auroraschoolofmusic.com.
Absolutely.
And you can also donate because it's going to a very, very good cause, and it's also in remembrance of Eric's dad, Ray Olson, which was a champion of music and the arts in school. So
the arts in general, absolutely.
Yep, and so it's a great cause, something to tune into. I'll be tuning in, checking it out, and throwing a few bucks that way. And, it'll be a lot of fun. So if you want to have something fun to do, something a little bit different on a Saturday night, tune in. Enjoy it. Pump up the music. It's all live music. There's going to be everything from musical theater to, I know, Eric, you'll be taking the stage with your rock band.
We will.
And so it's going to be a little bit of everything for everyone. So tune in again at the auroraschoolofmusic.com. And that is from 5 to 9 Eastern time.
Yes, it is. So, we are very excited about it. And as Joel says, there will be a variety of music, primarily musical theater, some light classical in the first 2 hours, 5 to 7 Eastern. Second 2 hours will be our band, The Props, rockin' hard in your face.
That's what we like to hear. Rockin' hard in the face. That's exactly what we want. So, Eric, Christmas is here again, and I love Christmas, and next week, of course, we'll be taking that week off, so no live shows next week, but we will be loading up some great classic shows for you guys in the old server, so fire off as if we are live. You will even know the difference. We just will not be there because we will be spending time with our families. So that's next week, no live shows. Again, Christmas is upon us again. And what did you wish for, Eric? What was the old wish for the gifts?
What do I want this year? Gosh, I would like for world peace and happiness, I think.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
That's
no,
it.
actually, to be serious, we have so many, just in the last 2 years, so many new family members, 4 little kids. I just want them all, and of course the rest of the family, but the little babies in particular, to be healthy and happy in the new year.
And you ever notice the older you get, it's harder to think of stuff that you want.
It really is. You're right. You're absolutely right.
If you want something, you generally just go out and buy it.
You do, and the things that I kind of think about tend to be bigger ticket items, so I really don't expect anyone to get it for me.
Yeah.
And it's usually to fulfill a need, like you. You told us a story about your poor 4K TV being done in. So we had a similar issue, but much earlier in the year. I mean, our TV, the big main TV that everyone watches, was simply dying. and it just had to be replaced. There's no way around it. So what are you going to do? You're not going to go backwards. You got to move up.
No, I tried going backwards, by the way, when that TV went down, and
I know.
God bless his soul, my 2-year-old son thought it would be funny to throw a Hot Wheels car at the TV and break it. So anyhow, I didn't get too mad at him, of course. I mean, what do you do? He's 2. Really can't do a whole lot of anything.
No.
And so, other than screaming under my breath, going, damn kid, what the hell? You just replace the TV. But yeah, you can't go backwards. I tried going back to just normal HD TV, and it was like I was living in a cave, man.
It's like all you see is some sort of weird smear up on the TV. There's nothing distinct. It's like, ooh, I feel all queasy and greasy and oily and smeary.
Do you remember, though, when those TVs were the thing, though? Those HD TVs, and they were so ungodly expensive.
I know. Yes, believe me, I really do remember. I remember way, way back in the 80s. So think about this. Think how far back that was. Seeing the first projector TV at some super high-end house in Beverly Hills. It was thousands of dollars. It looked now, in retrospect, like crap.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was amazing.
At the time, now you can get them for free. People are trying to give them away. Oh, you want that projector TV? I don't want that huge honking thing anymore.
Super heavy and hot. Think how hot they get.
I know. They're like a fire hazard in a pretty box.
So I saw one of those and was pretty astonished. Probably, like mid 80s. So that was a big deal back then. And just the march of technology every step of the way.
That's true.
I now hear I hear there are. I don't think there's any programming, but there are already 8K TVs.
See, there's got to be a certain point where your eye just can't render it.
You would think. Beyond a certain point. Although I get, what they're talking about is that your TV is going to blend into virtual reality. So, I don't know what the point is where, it becomes, you can't distinguish between reality and the TV. I don't know. Does that point exist? I don't know if it does or not.
Well, they got the Oculus thing out there. And I see that commercial where it shows the guys wearing the visor, the VR visors, and part of the fun of watching TV, especially if you're watching with somebody, is to enjoy it together and not have these visors on your heads.
Exactly.
So I'm not quite sure. I don't think we're there yet, but I think that we're probably 5-8 years maybe away from it, though, to having things reality blurring like that, or it's just going to be
without the headset.
Yeah, without the headset, maybe be like a holodeck on Star Trek.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Remember the book? We've talked about this a few times. Remember that book we read? We interviewed the author. It was a novel, and it was about basically the 27 Club.
Yes.
But the author, among many other things, having been a music industry exec, he had also been deeply into the tech industry.
Yeah.
And he envisioned a room that you walk in where you are surrounded in that space by a 3D, basically projection environment, but it felt like you were there. And I can see that coming.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I remember, though, being a kid, real young, with a 12-inch black and white television. And this is probably late 70s, 79, 80. And then finally, my father sprung for about a 3,000-pound color TV. That was a whopping 19 inches. Yeah, my God, it was like going to the movie theater. Look at that. We have a 19-inch television. And, of course, they put it on the most rickety TV stand they could find. It would creak once in a while. You play under that thing, and you're really taking your own your own safety into your own hands at that point. Because, man, any moment that thing could have toppled.
Well, think about it. With the tubes and the heat and the weight, I mean, wow. That was a dangerous time. But yeah, it just shows you every new technology replaces previous technologies. Yep. It makes them feel, if not in reality, it makes them feel obsolete.
Yeah.
And but there are some things like the ever increasing clarity and detail in a TV where it really does make the previous technology obsolete.
It does.
It just looks so smeary and blobby, and you can't see in the background. I remember the first time that we watched, we got this big package, not just the disc, of course, but all kinds of supplemental information. A Wizard of Oz Blu-ray set. You know, it was like, I don't know, what would it be? Yeah, it was like 75th anniversary or something like that. It came out in 39, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so we watched it, not on the 4K, but the previous TV. So it was, HD, big screen and Blu-ray. And for the first time, you could see all this stuff going on in the background. Remember, you see the witch way in the background moving around. And supposedly you see this guy hanging. Remember that?
I do. Did you ever see the guy hanging?
Yeah, you
did.
Do. Yeah, I mean, he's not like a real person, but, it's something to do for some reason. I don't know why that was part of the set. And they just thought no one will see it,
Yeah.
So anyway, it was just amazing to see all this new detail. It's like going from 2D to 3D, although, of course, it was still 2D. And, that's the other thing is, what do you think is going to happen with 3D? It was so hot for a short period, and then people just got sick of it. For me personally, even in the theater, the movie theater, where it can be very effective, it just gives me a headache.
Yeah, I've noticed you don't see the movies like you once did coming out in 3D, even in the theater.
No, it's already going away.
It is. I knew a guy that bought the 3D TV back in the day, and man, that was the worst thing in the world to watch. Oh, man, we got to watch this in the 3D TV, and we watched some movie, I can't remember what it was, and you had to wear the stupid glasses. It just was not very much fun. It was not enjoyable at all.
No, and like you say, even at home, if you're wearing the glasses, it takes you out of that.
It does.
Communal experience.
It just does. It's just not comfortable, and especially if you already wear glasses, like I do.
Right.
You got to put those over your glasses, so that double sucks.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's really what it is. I would imagine if they're going to make a go out of 3D, they're going to have to develop it where you don't need the glasses. That you can just look at the screen. They're going to have to if they want to make that into a viable thing.
Totally agree. Yep, 100%.
But now we're looking though. Music now is going backwards though. As much as we're talking about 4K and 8K TVs, music is going backwards.
Analog is back. Absolutely.
Records
vinyl
back
is everywhere.
It
that
is.
180K, I get the it's not a press release, just the update availabilities from a company called Analog Productions. It's pretty high-end stuff. It's kind of high-end equipment, and for years they were mostly geared toward SACDs and the high-end, high resolution. Well, certainly in the last 10 years, I mean, they're just all about vinyl, and more and more things coming out on vinyl, and they're re-releasing old records as well as new records, and it's all super audiophile stuff. It's those 180, gram, the really heavy, dense records.
Yep.
And they're super expensive, 25, 30, 35, 40 bucks each.
Yeah, they're expensive, very expensive. I also saw 8-tracks coming back, by the way.
I can't even imagine 8-track coming back because it's just the fidelity is too low. You can get very high fidelity out of a record, even though it's an analog product, and you have that warmth that you don't have with the digital. But 8-track, it just sounds like crap. Always has, always will.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine it being viable. I think it's more of the nostalgia factor.
It is.
If anything,
you're right.
that brings it back will be the nostalgia factor is what will hit there. And so that is all interesting as we move forward with the tech or backwards if you talk about music. Because CD was nice, but just too clean. It just didn't have the warm popping noises and imperfections that vinyl did. Just too clean.
Doesn't have the ambience. Right. It's exactly. It's like a clean room kind of feel. Now I love CDs, and I've ended up, I kind of had to make a decision to continue on and hang on to the vinyl or to fully throw myself into CDs. And, I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but I did. I threw myself into CDs. At one point I had as many as about 13,000 records.
Wow.
My wife sold them all. I'm down, well, not all. I'm down to about 1,000 vinyl. We saved, I don't know, a couple hundred and gave to my daughter who's, at 19, she's the absolute new generation, digging the vinyl, going retro. So we did give her quite a few, but we basically sold the vast majority, almost all of them, and so now I'm really about digital. So it's either on CD or I do have some SACDs and even Blu-ray CDs now. Yeah. Or computer, right?
MP3
or actual digital,
MP3.
So those are my sources now. Unfortunately, I don't even have my turntable anymore. My daughter does, obviously, but I don't. She's got hers at college.
Wow. Well, maybe you'll have to get another turntable because they're selling them
one
now.
Of these days.
Yeah. Well, did you know that just a few days ago, on the 17th, was the 51st anniversary of the Mothman sighting, where the Silver Bridge collapsed?
I did not, and that is still, to this day, one of the strangest, most compelling paranormal tales. I mean, people just swear to the reality of those Mothman visitations as being a harbinger for the disaster that then befell the community.
1966, when they saw the Mothman in the TNT area, or they saw the Mothman right before the bridge collapsed. But up until that point, people were seeing it everywhere, and most notably was in the World War II TNT plant, where those kids allegedly outran the Mothman in their vehicle. And a lot of other tragedies, people have claimed to seen the Mothman. I've even heard people say that they've seen the Mothman prior to 9/11.
Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
Wow. I can't remember if I'd heard that or not. But, I mean, to make it that much more contemporary, you've had, for over the last couple of years now, you've had a number, many. It's not exactly Mothman. They're calling it kind of like a winged humanoid is how they're basically describing it. Sightings all around the Chicago area. I mean,
that's right. I forgot
dozens
about that.
of them. We got to ask Heidi about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That for the longest time, people were seeing that thing flying around Chicago, and the reason why the Silver Bridge collapsed is I guess, the stoplight at the end of the bridge had malfunctioned, and it was stuck on red. And of course, vehicles kept coming onto the bridge, not knowing it, and created some type of a gridlock.
Right,
and it couldn't handle all the weight of the vehicles on the bridge, and it eventually gave way.
They all piled up on the bridge.
They did.
That was really terrible. How many people were killed?
Oh, man. Looking for on here if it gives me a death toll in this article or not. I'm looking for how many. It does talk about John Keel. He's the guy that the movie was based on, with Richard Gere.
His book.
Yeah, right. his book. Did you like the movie?
I liked it pretty well. I thought it was pretty compelling. I mean, it felt, it was plausible. I never said, nah, no way, this is all crap. You know what I mean? It really felt plausible. I forget, kind of what percentage of the film is really, supposed to be based on reality. Somewhat, anyway. I mean, it's a movie. It's a Hollywood movie. But, I thought it was a good movie. The thing that I'm unclear on, and maybe it's because there is no final decision, what is sort of the agreed upon assessment of what the Mothman is or was? What is it?
Well, Mothman. Well, okay. First, I found the to answer your question, 46 people died.
Wow!
On the Silver Bridge during that collapse. That's
truly disaster.
That is big. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
And the Mothman basically would fall into the cryptid category more than anything else. I mean,
is it just a cryptid though, or is it some sort of supernatural entity?
I think it kind of straddles the line. I've heard both.
That's exactly. I've heard both. I've heard even possibly an alien. You know, some sort of alien, cryptid, supernatural. Because if you're going to have, if it's functioning as some sort of harbinger, of the future, of events to come, there would have to be some kind of, supernatural or at least parapsychological aspect to it. Couldn't just be some sort of creature, I wouldn't think.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I'm looking right now over here at the Lauren Coleman site, and he is one of the foremost researchers on Mothman, and I'm looking for what he thinks it might have been here. And of course, it's the West Virginia folklore Mothman as a creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area November 12th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register dated November 16th, 1966, titled "Couple See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something Strange," it says. The national press soon picked up on the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. Now, I'm looking for a definitive answer what Mothman may or may not have been. He does fall into, according to Lauren Coleman, a cryptid category rather than a supernatural, more of a cryptid. So what it is here, if I could fix my headphones here. Hold on, bear with me. A little short and old switch there for a second. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Now I sound much better, right? Okay. What it was is, see, there's also been some controversy whether maybe Mothman was in fact an alien.
Yeah, but you had the glowing red eyes. I don't know who was supposed to be making those phone calls, like in the movie. Remember, you had those phone calls. I mean, how could a cryptid make phone calls?
Well, you wouldn't think it really could. That never made sense to me. Then they don't really explain that in the movie. The phone call making person.
No, they don't. They leave it very ambiguous. I mean, the implication is definitely that it has supernatural aspects to it, at least in the film. So it sounds like there isn't any real kind of final consensus. So you have, I mean, the common elements were the glowing red eyes, this head that kind of looks like, an insect of some sort, very large size. I don't know what, 6-7 feet, I guess, body size. Yeah. And then wings. Yeah,
big wingspan. And they saw this allegedly in the TNT area. And again, people around Point Pleasant were seeing it. And then really they saw flying around right before the Silver Bridge.
Wasn't it even supposedly perched on top of it?
Yeah. People saw flying around and perched on top of it. Of course, skeptics don't agree with any of that. They think it's all hoaxes. It's a big hoax, which of course you would expect that they were. I know Joe Nickel, he is pretty notable saying it could have been a barred owl.
That would have been one big ass owl.
That would have been a huge owl. I have a hard time believing an owl.
Owl come on. People aren't that.
That's the same. That's as good as answer as weather balloon.
Come on. I mean, it's something happened, and I don't know what it was. I don't pretend to know what it was. I don't pretend to know what the Mothman is. But I mean, when that many people saw it, something's going on. Also, again, we've had this recurrence of something similar. We've had it's similar size. It's the, winged humanoid, glowing eyes, many, many reports in and around Chicago over the last couple years. So I'm wondering, is there what if anything is the connection, between those events, between Point Pleasant and the Chicago area?
Yeah, I wonder if there is a connection. I do know now they do have a big shindig in Point Pleasant since '02 dedicated to the Mothman.
Yeah, a festival.
Yeah, festival, and the statue, of course, was unveiled, and it's a 12-foot tall metallic statue of the creature created by an artist. And his name is Bob Roach, is the guy that made that. And people still strongly believe that the Mothman, of course, is still in the area. There are still some sightings here and there.
Yeah, and the notion, of some sort of entity being a harbinger of things to come. Usually it's disaster. Mm-hmm. I mean, that goes back thousands of years.
Yeah, it does. It does. Oh, Mothman
takes many different forms.
Yeah, I mean, the banshee?
A banshee, exactly,
is a harbinger. A raven can be considered one as well if it's pecking at your window.
Right.
There's a lot of them throughout history that kind of, foreshadow doom.
And many are tied to the holidays. We talked about how Halloween, kind of the main activity surrounding Halloween until really just the last 100 years or even less, was prognostication,
mm-hmm.
was looking into the future. And that has always been very, very strongly tied to the Christmas/New Year's. Really, it's about New Year's.
Yeah.
Season as well, trying to tell the future and all kinds of different, games and activities and methods for doing that. And part of that, along with that, or built into that, does include some, entity type creatures or ghosts
mm-hmm.
or whatever
mm-hmm.
that would help you foretell the future.
So this year, what we're going to be doing for the show is for the New Year's. What we're going to do is we're going to write it on Facebook. We're going to get everyone's predictions of what they believe is going to happen in 2019. And next year, this time, whoever is the closest to gain the prediction correct, we're going to send them a bunch of books in the mail.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Whoever the winner is, will get some pretty good swag out of us. We got a lot of awesome books, courtesy Llewellyn, that we got to start giving away anyway. So we would like to do that. We're also going to have some other giveaways throughout this coming New Year as well. I just talked to Llewellyn, and they're going to be pitching some books our way to do some giveaways again. So that'll be good.
Excellent. Yeah, they always have a lot of stuff coming out.
They do. Get some giveaways going, that kind of stuff. Any quick prediction, put you on the spot for 2019, Eric?
Well, I know we've pretty assiduously avoided political talk, and that's fine with me because it's just, it's endless and it's so contentious. But I would have to say I do think we're going to see some dramatic changes at the national government level in 2019.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. It just seems that way.
Boy, it was sure picking up steam all through 2018. And now as we end 2018, we are poised. We got a new Congress coming in. We have a democratically controlled House coming in. We have all this going on, all this activity, all these indictments, all these reports from the Mueller team. And it just seems to be really all picking up steam and coming to a head. And I'm not saying that we will literally have a change in the government, at the head of government, but I think we will see some dramatic movement in that direction in 2019.
I think that aliens are going to finally make contact in 2019.
Wow, that's bold.
Well, you might as well shoot for the stars. You know what I mean?
Literally.
You may as well. I don't know, either that or That's either going to happen or we're going to see more conflict. Things rise, unfortunately, in the Russian area. Aggressions keep going on,
They keep pushing.
So
they just keep prodding and poking and pushing and seeing what they can get away with.
The latter, I hope, does not come to pass, but the former, the first one, man, absolutely, bring on the little green men.
How cool would that be?
That would be awesome. Wouldn't it be awesome to finally have them land, like right in Times Square, saying, yep, we're real. We've been real this whole time.
I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to see that in my lifetime, but I'll tell you what, I am almost 100% sure we are going to find some form of life not on Earth, and it could be very nearby. I mean, it could be as close as the moon.
Yeah.
I doubt the moon. But I
think Mars.
Mars looks very, very starting to look very likely. There is something beneath that surface.
There is.
If you have water, and sure you have much greater temperature extremes than on Earth, but it's still within a somewhat reasonable temperature range, and the temperature range is of course much lower, smaller. A narrower range beneath the surface. So if you have water beneath the surface of Mars, and we know, a lot about Mars history, it just seems to me there's some little bugs running around that close by.
Some type of
nearest
life.
Planet.
Yep,
nearest planet.
Some type of life, I'm sure. I'm sure if we actually have boots in the ground and really are able to explore, we very well might find life on Mars. So
microbes, bacteria.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be giant beings. It just has to be bugs.
It's going to be bugs, and they're going to be teeny tiny. But I think we're going to end up finding ultimately a number of places that has that kind of life.
Yeah,
right here in our solar system.
Yeah, I agree. We got to get out of here. We'll come back. We're going to cover your America's Most Haunted Headlines. We'll be right back right after this.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey? Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
Oh, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as always, he's right. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Yeah, I know that now.
Thanks to me.
Actually, thanks to Smokey.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Get your Smokey on. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
I got a rather serious problem over here.
All right, what are we looking at?
Cranky mother-in-law asleep on the couch in the man cave.
Dear God.
It gets worse.
That's impossible.
She's passed out on the remote.
I stand corrected.
What do I do?
Okay, I want you to grab a Torrin Big Red hydraulic bottle jack.
Okay.
Now you wedge that bad boy in under your mother-in-law and crank her up skyward.
It's working. Got the remote.
Great. Now grab that Torrin Big Red 2-ton folding shop crane and put that woman on wheels.
And away we go.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Welcome back to After Hours AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olson.
And Eric, it is time for America's Most Haunted Headlines. So everybody fire up your old Twitter browser, head on over to Twitter, of course, and search out AM Haunted, America's Most Haunted. You don't even have to be a member to follow along with some cool images, some cool stories you're going to want to follow along and hear and take part in. And, of course, if you've never been there, you need to stop into America's-most-haunted.com. Check that out because there's some killer articles. And for every show that we do, there's an article to go with it that is just wonderfully written by Eric Olson. And it's a lot of fun, and you can check all that out. Plus, hear the archives, all that kind of good stuff. Most people have been there at least two or three times if you're hearing our voice anyway. But if you are new to the show, definitely check out America's-most-haunted.com. That's the epicenter for all things Amazemo.
And yes, thank you, Joel, for all of that. In addition, one other thing, because it's that time of year, we have lots of interesting, cool, mostly spooky, creepy holiday traditions. What are the origins of various holiday traditions? We got a whole bunch about Christmas and the end of the year. Of course, we got a ton about Halloween, other holidays as well, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in the holidays and the traditions, some of these go back thousands of years, the traditions, please check those stories out. We even have a seasonal tab. All right. Really interesting story. You never know how to take these things because, of course, it's all anecdotal reports. But very interesting story, kind of an omnibus story on Mysterious Universe. And it's a collection of sightings, real-world sightings of Santa Claus.
Huh. Wow, I did not know there were actual real sightings of St. Nick.
People who claim to have seen the real deal.
Huh.
Number of stories. And I love this painting. Is that one of the freakiest looking Santa Clauses you've ever seen?
I would be afraid of that Santa Claus.
I don't know what's coming out of his eyes.
I don't know either. I'd pee a little bit and run. That's what I'd be doing.
Look at that little tyke there who's just mesmerized, not
Right?
afraid at all. Apparently not. Is that you, Santa?
Yeah,
Whoa.
braver than I am.
Way braver. So yeah, it's a cool article. Please check that out. And again, the reason, among others, but the main reason, your selfish reason for actually going to Twitter.com/amhaunted is you can see all the pictures we're talking about, and you can click on the links. All right, how about this guy? This guy in Montana, very cavalier about it. He claimed he was shooting at someone. And he was going to be charged. He was just shooting in the woods. And he said, I shoot at anything that looks like a Bigfoot.
Including large, hairy people.
Including large, hairy people.
I shoot at anything that looks like a Bigfoot, so if you look like a Bigfoot, you're kind of screwed.
Don't wander around in the woods of Montana if you are large and hairy. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Wow. So now the guy is facing charges?
Oh, I believe so.
Shooting at people?
I mean, he certainly should be facing charges.
Yeah. So,
let's see. Let's check this out. The supposed Sasquatch was actually a fellow human being setting up targets to shoot in a forest area near Helena.
So you shot at some poor guy.
I'm being attacked. Autoplay. It got me. I was so disoriented there for a moment. All right. So anyway, we're on Huffington Post. Autoplay. Get it out of here. The 27-year-old victim narrowly avoided death when one bullet hit 3 feet to his left. Another whizzed by him on the right.
Man.
Oh my God! The poor victim tried to avoid more gunfire. What? 2 shots weren't enough?
Yeah.
More gunfire by running into the trees.
Oh my God!
Before he was able to confront his shooter, a man in a black Ford F-150. Listen to this. The alleged shooter, well, I don't think it's alleged. I think he was the shooter.
Yeah.
Reportedly told the victim, I thought you were Bigfoot.
I thought you're a Bigfoot boy. You look a lot like a Bigfoot.
The victim added that the suspect told him, I don't target practice, but if I see something that looks like Bigfoot, I just shoot at it.
That is quite the policy to have in life. If you look like it, I'm gonna shoot you.
Is that a quote for the ages?
That is. I don't
if
shoot
I
often.
See something that looks like Bigfoot, I just shoot at it.
Just shoot at it.
I'm waiting to see if he's charged.
Oh, he has to be charged. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't be.
They haven't found the guy.
Okay. Well, he must be like Bigfoot and just, disappeared.
He and his black F-150 truck blended into the woods.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
The police are looking for him.
Well, if you have any leads to apprehend the would-be Bigfoot shooter, go ahead, contact your local law enforcement. But stay out of the woods of Montana until this guy's captured.
Near Helena, anyway. All right, so look at this next image. How bizarre is that? It is a massive sculpture that was actually originally made for Burning Man.
Oh, okay. What is it? It's
some sort of alien creature.
Yeah, kind of like an abstract thing going on. You kind of look at it.
It kind of looks like the monsters from Stranger Things.
It kind of does. Now that you say it, it kind of does look like them.
It's like a tentacled head. The sculpture is called a Koilos. The problem is, once it left Burning Man...
Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
It doesn't stay anywhere for long because no one wants the damn thing.
Get it out of here. That thing's ugly as hell.
2,000 pounds of steel, 14 feet tall.
Wow.
It was created in 2007 by Michael Christian for Burning Man. And it's supposed to be a paradox. This makes sense if you look at it. It wants to jump, but also wants to relax at the same time.
So it's a confused monster. Doesn't quite know what it wants. It doesn't know what it wants.
So here's the path that it traveled. It started at Burning Man.
Okay.
Then it went to the Distillery District in Toronto.
Okay.
It became a much loved tourist spot. I don't know why it left then.
Yeah.
Let's see. So in 2013 caught the eye of Andrew Cummings, who fell in love with it and noticed it was suffering from a certain amount of damage. So he decided to buy it, and he moved it to his home on Baxter Island on Lake Muskoka in Ontario, Canada.
Interesting. The thing gets around.
It really, really does. Now, apparently, it's in a town. Let's see. It's in the town, still in Ontario, but it's in the town of Bala, B-A-L-A.
Huh. Never heard of it.
I haven't either, actually.
Never heard of that. I'm sure it's a very fine city.
But I thought it was a very interesting and creepy sculpture.
That is creepy as all hell is what that is.
Now, look at this next image. That's really pretty interesting. It's not definitive, but there is speculation that this image, which is to be found on Google Maps, may be a UFO.
It kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
It does. It looks like a flying saucer.
It does. It does look like a flying saucer.
Not perpendicular to the ground, so it's like it's turning.
Interesting.
What's very difficult to tell, though, is the scale.
Well, yeah, how big is it and all that kind of good stuff. So, yeah, scale's not there. And there's some strange things you can see on Google Earth. Have you ever looked at that? Have you ever Googled that where, strange pictures? There's some even ghostly pictures, you name it, on there.
Right. Like in windows of houses and all appearing. Yeah, some very interesting things. If you click through the article, which is on iHorror.com, which is actually a Canadian site, speaking of Canada. So it's Florida, naturally.
Oh, of course.
He's looking through Google Maps. So I guess this is not Google Earth. This is Google Maps. And let's see. So kind of in between the clouds. It's really hard to tell.
I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, how high off the ground is it truly, too? You know?
Right. How big is it?
Could it be a bird?
To the clouds.
It kind of looks like a bird in flight, flapping maybe the wings.
It could be half of a bird, where half of it's covered up by the cloud.
Yeah.
You're right. It could be like an eagle.
And that's probably what it is, because that's the most likely, case, is it's a bird.
And people are saying that it may even be, if the context is way out of whack, it could even just be half of a butterfly.
That could be. It very well could be. Yeah, because we don't know how close it truly was to the camera. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't show any real definition here. For objectivity of, the size and how far away it is from the bushes.
Indeed. Moving along. Today, the first trailer came out for the new Men in Black movie called Men in Black International.
Are you excited for the new Men in Black?
I don't know. I love the first two. The third one I was very hopeful about.
Yeah.
But it was just too long, I think.
Was.
After. The third one just didn't really...
No.
It didn't gel. It didn't come together.
Yeah.
So this is the fourth. So I don't know. I'm hopeful, but, And
I like Josh Brolin. I think he's a great actor.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And in that role, he actually did fairly well in it. And that was the shining spot of that movie, I thought.
Yeah. I agree.
It was him, but after that, the story was kind of weak. It was kind of long. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Just didn't ever make it.
Yeah, I mean, part of the appeal of the first two was the novelty of it. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not novel anymore. So this one stars. What's interesting about this and why it's called International is the action moves from the U.S. to London. They are defending London.
Okay. I was going to say, speaking of movies that are coming out and being redone, did you see they're re-releasing Deadpool 2 for rated PG-13 audiences?
I did, which seems very odd to me. Why?
I don't know, but Fred Savage is in those commercials.
Oh, yeah, right.
Kidnapped Fred Savage.
Yeah, I'm unclear as to the motivation for all this. I mean, it's not like the movie didn't do well. It did extraordinarily well. Huge, massive worldwide box office. I don't know why. I guess what? You want to get at the kids who couldn't see it because it was R? I guess.
Yeah, that would be my only thinking. That would be
it's not really a kid's... It's not a kid's movie, man.
Not really. And if you try to make it into a kid's movie, you're just going to destroy it anyway, in my opinion.
I think so.
Half of the charm is the bad language, from the Deadpool, from those jokes.
Exactly. And even beyond literally the language, it's just the overall inappropriateness of it.
And that's the charm.
Of it.
Yeah, it's the charm of it.
It's so inappropriate.
It is. Almost makes you feel dirty to watch it, and that's part of it's fun.
All right, last word on the new Men in Black.
Okay.
It stars Chris Hemsworth, Liam Neeson, and Tessa Thompson.
Well, that'll be one I'll look forward to when it comes on DVD.
Interesting combo.
Yeah. I don't go to movies as much as I used to, namely because I hate the seats.
Well, it's inconvenient, it's expensive, and you got little kids.
I do, and I got a giant ass TV, so
we go when. Kind of the scale of it is needed when you gotta see it on the big screen. Like if there's a new really great superhero movie, we'll go see it. Usually we send my son and daughter. They go scout it out and let us know.
They're your test dummies to make sure it's worth the time and money to go see it. Okay,
crash test dummies, movie test dummies.
Yeah. I did see Bohemian Rhapsody on the big screen, and it was an all right movie. It wasn't the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad either.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I guess I'm not going to see it at the movies. I'll certainly check it out when it makes its way, when it's available on my big TV.
There you go.
All right, interesting story every year there's multiple accounts of this, but this is an interesting rendition of it. It's from one of our favorite sites, or astronomical sites, earthsky.org. Pretty much every day, or at least several times a week, something out of there. And it's an article, what actually was, in reality, the biblical Christmas star?
UFO.
What did the wise men see?
A UFO.
What did the shepherds follow?
Again, a UFO.
Well, it might have been. There's speculation. Was it actually a star? Was it a supernova?
Yeah.
What is it? Was it a galaxy? Was it a UFO? Who knows?
Yeah, we just don't know. What do you think it was?
I think it was right around that time, there was a flare-up. What was it? Let's see. It was like a supernova.
Okay.
So, it would have appeared just blazing, in the sky.
Yeah.
And it would have been visible at about that time, they're saying. That seems the most likely to me.
That would be the most likely. I'm sure it was not a UFO, but a supernova would fit because they describe it as being horrendously bright.
Right.
Yeah.
It's certainly possible,
Yeah. Who knows?
Anyway, it's very interesting article. It runs through the various possibilities of what it might have been. So check that out. We have a real nice image of a bright light shining in the sky.
There you go.
Seemed to come from afar, as the song says.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, coming up tomorrow night. Wow. Talk about astronomy. We got a big, big night. We have the combination winter solstice and the full moon.
Oh, that's right. It is the winter solstice 21st.
Tomorrow night.
Wow. And there's a full moon to boot. That's gonna be interesting.
Shortest day of the year.
Yes, it is. Shortest day of the year. And then after this they get longer and longer the days.
Thank goodness. Yes,
I know, right? I really want spring to hurry up and get here.
Yep. December's gone quickly, but it always does.
It always does.
Once you're in that Christmas mode, boy, it just starts picking up steam. It's like a locomotive coming at you. Whoa! It just ran me over.
That's right. And then we're in the throes of winter.
So I love this image. I think it's a photograph. It may not be. But it's a full moon over a very lovely pastoral winter landscape.
It's pretty. It's very pretty.
How long do you think eggnog has been around?
Oh, I would say probably 200 or 300 years.
At least 1,000.
Wow, it's been around that long, huh?
Yeah.
Are you an eggnog guy?
I like some, but it's so rich.
It is very rich.
You can't drink a lot of it.
No.
I'll always have, several glasses, but kind of only one per night.
Do you keep it rated PG or do you put a little brandy in it?
I actually put rum in it.
Rum, okay. That's what you put in, isn't it? It's rum. Anyway,
like
that's
brandy
the traditional.
too.
Okay.
Some people put brandy. Some people put
little
bourbon.
rum. Yeah. Is that what you do?
We go rum.
Oh, there you go. See, I keep it
a lot of rum.
I keep a virgin because the little kids like it. Well, you need a lot of rum. You gotta have a lot of rum in there. Come on.
You gotta rum it up.
You gotta rum it up. You just don't want to get drunk on it. You don't want to do that. I've done that. That never ends well.
It doesn't, because you got all that milk, dairy, and egg going on along with the alcohol in your stomach. That is a bad combo.
That is a horrible combination. You will not be happy.
So, just to give a little more information about this, it wasn't called eggnog 1,000 years ago.
What was it called?
I'm waiting for that article to appear. It's taking way too long, Smithsonian Magazine. What is wrong with you?
Eggy sludge. That's what they called it. No.
It really is. But the very similar recipe, that's what's interesting about it, and with alcohol. So eggs, a sweetener, sugar, dairy product, milk, cream, whatever, and, of course, alcohol. Okay, at that time, approximately began around 1,000 years ago. It was called posset, Posset.
Okay. Where was it originated from? What country? What's its origin?
Well, they find history of it in England.
Okay.
There may be some inkling of it in Iceland.
All right.
But in England, by the 13th century, monks were known to drink a posset, that was what it was called, with eggs and figs. Milk, eggs, and sherry was another form of it.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Had no idea. Now I know the history of eggnog.
But in America, rather than the brandy or the sherry or even the bourbon, I think is maybe the most recent addition. When it came to America, so, way back in the 1600s, 1700s, they immediately switched to rum because rum was much cheaper than European brandies because it came from the Caribbean.
Gotcha. Sure. Makes sense.
Rum was very popular in the U.S. because, you had the sugar plantations making rum just south of here.
And pirates. They like their rum.
They were drinking up.
Captain Morgan and all.
Captain Morgan, Captain. I love those commercials. They are humorous. All right, my computer is, I don't know if it's frozen or if it's just really slow. Would you read the next one, please?
One Punch. Okay, basically it's showing Krampus getting his butt handed to him by Santa Claus. And One Punch Kringle, they call him. One Punch Kringle, they call him, rather, so I can read that correctly. My microphone's obscuring my monitor here for a second, so I'm going to read through the microphone here, and it shows, again, Kris Kringle karate kicking Krampus.
He laid him out flat. One Punch Kringle, they call him.
He did. He laid him right out, and of course, that shows the kid in the backpack or knapsack or whatever, Krampus. The kid is just there, and Kringle, and of course, Kringle's yelling "ho." That's all he says. One ho. Wow. I'm not sure if he was saying ho 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 or if he just was calling Krampus a derogatory term or not.
All right. Well, I'm something's going on. Eventually, my Twitter will come back up. I had switched over to that article, and it's just not.
Yeah, I think that your
what is next?
Your computer's definitely having issues because you're starting to break up a little bit on the old Skype. So I will do the best I can in your stead here. Wow, now the next thing is very cool. These candle holders, they're skeletons. That is really a cool thing. It's from Pinterest, and he ain't heavy. He's my candle. That's what that's what Eric chose for the caption.
Yes, I'm the captionator. Yeah. So what they are is I just need to be reminded because I certainly recall these things. So the picture is of two really cool skeletal candle holders.
Yes,
and then with red candles on inside the holders, and hence my terminology. What is next? I got time for about what?
We got a couple more. Ghost of Christmas Forgotten, another Pinterest, and it shows looks like almost like a Grim Reaper type character wearing the robe, and you don't see his face. I would imagine it's hearkening back to the Dickens, maybe like one of those kind of ghosts in a lot of ways.
Yes,
it's a scary looking dude.
Yeah, it's kind of green.
Yes.
And it's not very filled in.
No.
It's mostly kind of that upper body with the flowing material.
Yep.
Kind of like a Reaper type thing.
It is. And he's coming to get you. Stalking your Christmas dreams.
Yeah, so the reason I picked that name is it's not exactly any of the actual ghosts from A Christmas Carol, but it looks so much like them. So it felt to me like some sort of ghost that could be associated with that has just been forgotten. So
makes sense.
forgot.
We're gonna skip the Mexican one and go right down to the brown lady. Now that picture's been around a long time.
That is probably the best known ghost, supposedly true ghost image.
Yeah.
It's on the stairway and of the hall where it's from. It's from the 30s too. That's how old it is.
And they were allegedly, now this is a story I heard, taking pictures for insurance reasons when they captured that picture.
Interesting. What's the name of the hall?
That one is Rynham Hall. Rynham Hall. Sorry.
Interesting. And that's from UK, I believe.
That is. And that the brown lady's been forever, though. That's been cited as being perhaps the most compelling piece of evidence ever of the existence of ghosts. And, well, mainly because back then they didn't have the technology they have today. And, in fact, I do believe the camera they were even using, I would imagine it was possible to double expose those cameras, but I'm not sure because I think they were still using the old steel plates to put the image on. Because they slide the steel plate in and they take the picture or whatever. And I'm not sure that would lend itself to double exposure. I'm not real learned on that, but I want to say I did hear somewhere along the lines that no, it would not lend itself. It would not allow double exposure. So what was there and was indeed in front of the camera.
So, I mean, it's not trickery was not unknown, as we know from the Victorian seance images that go back, predate 1900.
Yeah.
Those today look so obvious to us. We are much more sophisticated. So it's not as though no one had ever figured it out in terms of trickery with photographic images, but nothing like today.
Yeah, nothing like today at all. And who knows? It could be a hoax. Who knows? But they still point to that as being one of the better potential pieces of evidence out there of ghostly goings-ons. All right, we got to get out of here. We come back. We're going to be talking with Heidi Hollis as our guest tonight. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at Motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. Set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to After Hours AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. I'm trying to reconnect with Eric Olson. Hey, Eric, you there? Nope, still not there yet. But in the meantime, we have our guest tonight, which is Heidi Hollis. I do not have the nicely prepared statement that Eric does, but I will work on getting him in the meantime here so he can give his rundown and rendition, the proper introduction of Heidi. And of course, she's got a new book out there, which is it's actually now it's a re-release of an older book, right, Heidi?
Well, not much older, a few months ago.
Yeah, so it's, well, okay, it's not older. We're not talking like a grandpa book here, but
no. No. So yeah, no, it was a book that I put out in short order a few months ago, and everybody's like, God, I really like that. Can you expand upon it? And I'm like, well, sure. And then I put it into print because I only had it as an ebook. And but then also not too long ago, I released a couple of books. One that's brand spanking new, and then I put the sister book to it that had been published before, and I re-released that one along with it. So yeah, I've been busy.
Well, Eric, I'm back. You are back. Yeah, this is the second night in a row, by the way, that we've had tech issues that were not my fault. By the way, I just want to point that out.
Yeah, my computer just completely froze. Apparently we're having a, get this, for the what are we, what's our date? The 20th?
20th, yes. Yep.
Rainstorm.
Ooh.
Wow.
We're having a rainstorm as we speak.
That's ironic.
It is messing with our with the signal. Plus, I just ran downstairs while I was rebooting the computer. Every frickin' TV in the house is being used streaming purposes.
Well, that's what they do, you know.
Right, but that is pulling bandwidth.
Well, sure it is. Tell them, turn the dang TVs off. You're killing us. You're killing the show. Okay. Well, Eric, Heidi's on the line with us, so I'll step aside and let you do your intro, sir.
I will do that as soon as the computer fully comes up.
Really? Killing.
It's up.
Killing.
It's up. The computer's up. I just need to get the page to go up. There we go. All right. We are here. We're back. Woo! Yay. Thank you for your indulgence. All right. We have a visit from our good friend who wears many hats, that Heidi Hollis. So let's talk about the first hat. Heidi Hollis, author. No other author can say they've named and defined two paranormal realities like Heidi Hollis. Hollis is a truth seeker of the unknown. She considers herself as someone who has been there, seen that, experienced that, freaked out, found some answers, wrote about it, got over it, now helps others do the same to understand this strange world of ours, unquote. She's the world's foremost expert on shadow people and the Hat Man phenomena, and actually gave them both their names and defined them in her best-selling books, The Secret War, a true story about a real alien war and shadow people, and The Hat Man, the true story of evil encounters. She has collected thousands of reports of these beings from around the globe, along with various other mysteries experiencers trust to share with her, seeking direct advice. Her two newest books address the challenge of those who face something evil and are in need of building up their personal defenses on keeping these things away. One book is for teens and up, the other is for kids. For adults, teens and adults, it's called The Other F Word, How to Find Faith and Laugh at Yourself While Trying. And for kids, The Fickle Finders, Investigate the Other F Word. Similar themes for different audiences. A third new book, because, she's got 3 arms, The Hat Man, a guide in comics on how to get rid of dark beings for all ages. Her other acclaimed books and wide range of knowledge on mysteries expand into cryptozoology, ghosts, poltergeists, ancient mysteries, spiritual warfare, angelic encounters, psychic phenomena, possession, demons, miracles, healings, holy visions, prophecies, and guess what? More. All righty then. And she has not one, but she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I know there's at least 2 more. She's written at least 8 books. We have 6 of them listed, and you can get right to them on Amazon from the tonight's article, the show article on America's-Most-Haunted.com. Click on through, check out her amazing books. What else does Heidi do? She's a comic writer and artist as far back as she can recall. Heidi Hollis only wanted to be a comic strip artist, not an animator, not an illustrator, not an author, not a purple-loving addict, not a therapist, but a comic strip artist in bold, 3 exclamation points. Even when she wasn't provided with paper to draw on, she found drawing on the walls of her shared bedroom had to suffice. Upon getting yelled at, she found it... if she drew closer to the floor, it made it look like her baby sister did the drawing.
God, that's so mean.
Was that in there?
That is so mean.
An evil genius. However, after getting her sister into trouble a few times, it was soon realized the baby couldn't draw. As well as and Heidi was indeed the culprit. And we have a look right there embedded in the article. We have an Outlanders comic. And, of course, you can click on through to the outlanderscomic.com page. And, of course, her personal page is Heidi Hollis. It's just HeidiHollis.com, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, HeidiHollis.com. Right, last, but certainly not least, we have the Audible Heidi. Hollis is also a lively radio talk show host of Heidi Hollis, the Outlander Show, on the LNM radio network, and, of course, right here, After Hours AM, America's Most Haunted Radio, in all of our many guises and outlets. She is a lecturer, cartoonist, and we have already talked about that, but she's also a practicing occupational therapist with specialties in psychology, physical disabilities, and pediatrics. She has spoken across the country at Comic Cons, science fiction cons, paranormal cons, cons out the butt, and UFO conferences. She is a regular guest on Coast to Coast AM with millions, maybe billions of listeners, and has also been featured on a variety of notable radio and television programs worldwide. Welcome to the program, Heidi Hollis.
Holy smokes. That
Wow.
was too much I sent to you.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself. But
I was like,
stuff up.
I forgot. He reads really well and really fast, and I'm like, oh, I figured he'd cut it down. Nope.
No, word for word. That's the talent.
Added to it.
That is talent.
That is the talent. Okay, so you got, of course, Heidi. Tell us a little bit though. How did you get into this paranormal madness?
I was born into it. A haunted house. I think I've talked about that on the show with you guys. Yeah. I mean, my God, growing up in a haunted house is nothing cool. It's nothing exciting. It is horrifying, terrifying, and that was my childhood. So me and my siblings really dealt with a lot of BS. And
give us some examples, because lots of times on the show when you're on and we're talking to other guests or just amongst ourselves, you tell that part of it. But why don't you give us some? This is your hour, Heidi. Tell us some of the experiences from your childhood.
Oh boy, I think I once shared about the organ that played by itself. That was the very first thing that happened in that house. And you guys, I think I mentioned that about this crazy organ playing, but probably one of the more horrifying experiences that I personally had was it was experienced alone, unfortunately. And so my stepmom and my dad, we had dealt with this haunting going on for some time, and it was horrifying, absolutely all of us. And my parents, they had enough, and they're like, they were looking at homes they wanted to move into, get out of this haunted house, and and they decided, you know what, we just want a fresh start, and we're building a brand new house.
Oh, there you go.
Where no one else had ever lived, so we wouldn't have to deal with anything. And so everybody, it's so weird. We still went to school near our old house, though. So we would go to the old house, me and my siblings, and then wait for my parents to come pick us up and take us over to the new house. And we're like, painting and getting everything ready to be moved into. So anyways, my my older sister, she'd come home, and we're too scared, all of us too scared to go in the house by ourselves. So we would wait on the porch, and she would wait on the porch till I got home, and then we'd go into the house together. So this one night I come home, and she's not on the porch, and I'm like, wow, she must have had to use the bathroom or something, or got hungry, I don't know. And I'm coming in, and my gosh, I must have been 10 or something, and I'm like, calling her name, and I'm opening up the door, and I'm like, well, she's brave to come in here by herself.
Yeah.
And I hear her in the kitchen, and I'm calling her name. I'm taking off my backpack, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm here. Where are you? And I'm walking into the kitchen, and oh my goodness, I walk into the kitchen, and I hear what was like silverware moving, clanging together, and I'm like, oh, she's getting something to eat, obviously.
Yeah,
and
hungry
I go in
lady.
there,
Yeah.
Yep, I go in there, and it was just the drawer where the silverware and stuff was at was rattling, just vibrating, and I froze. I remember I froze looking at it. I'm like, oh no, and it starts pulling open, and I just knew to run like heck. And I spun around, and right behind me is the bathroom where we would often take refuge because it has a lock on it,
Yeah.
I turn around, and I go to get in the bathroom to lock the door, and it was locked. And I'm thinking, oh my God, she must be in there. She's not going to open up this door. My sister, and right in front of me to the other side is the stairs. And so I decided to run to the second floor bathroom, and I ran as fast as I could, got to the bathroom, closed the door, slammed it, locked it. And I mean, just the crashing of silverware hitting the bathroom door was just horrifying. I get chills. It's like I can't even describe that kind of horror. It was pretty bad. And I mean, I was locked up there for the longest time, waiting for anybody to come. I mean, and I was just sitting there crying my eyes out, and I heard like my dad's voice all of a sudden, and I don't know how much time had passed, and he's calling for me. I am not answering because I do not know what it is that's calling me. I'm like, I think it's him, but I was petrified. And he comes up the stairs, and he's like, Heidi, you in that bathroom? And I'm like, I could barely like squeak out a yes. I was just so frozen in fear. And he's like, open the door. And I opened the door like, and he's like, what are you doing in here? And I'm trying to tell him what happened. And he's like, silverware flying, really?
Yeah.
And then I am not kidding you. There was a spoon on the floor right in front of the bathroom. And I'm like, look, there it is,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was your sister indeed in the lower bathroom?
She was not. It turned out she had an after-school activity my dad forgot. And so I was alone.
You were all alone in this house full of flying silverware.
Well, and it's like it waited for us to be alone. It really did. And yeah. Go ahead.
Is the house still standing today?
It is. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. We had so much going on there. Yeah, it's still around, and I really wouldn't be surprised if it didn't have other activity going on. But it didn't seem to matter wherever I moved, though, that things happened. And I don't know. I mean, I really feel like it may have been shadow people all along, because my stepbrother there, he got attacked by something that was all black with glowing red eyes. He scratched his face up. That's
not good at all. And do you think, though, that maybe it marked you to some extent? I mean, because you went through so much, that you yourself became haunted?
Oh, I don't think I'm haunted necessarily, but something runs in the family where we're a bit more sensitive to seeing things, because myself and my two sisters have seen a lot of different things, especially my younger sister. So I think that, it's just just something that happens. I mean, my younger sister, she's seen everything from a UFO landing in somebody's backyard to Hat Man and shadow people and ghosts and angelic things and psychic prediction like stuff. So she's just not as involved and as in depth as I am in this stuff.
Do you guys ever talk about it though when you guys are together going, do you remember that time?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. She recalls quite a bit. But she was younger than me, but she recalls enough. But I mean, even, day to day, she may get something here or there that reminds her that we're not a normal family.
Well, so there you are. You're dealing with all that stuff, and you grew up, obviously, because you're here talking with us. And did that make you want this? That had to have obviously made you want to find answers, what it was and how it worked.
It did, but it was horrifying. I just can't even describe to you. Like, when we left that house, my stepmom and dad thought, whew, thank God, we left that thing there. Yeah. And everybody's doing good. And I'm like, I am having out-of-body experiences. I'm like, some poltergeist activity going on around me. And I'm like, I'm glad you're sleeping. It was just... It's just like, I don't know, but and there was something that changed though too. So outwardly, whatever it was, it changed to be more inward. And myself and my two sisters started having these devilish, demonic dreams of my mother who had passed away. And we didn't realize that we're all having these same dreams because we sure weren't talking about that part, because it was like, ooh, who wants to think and remember their mother in that capacity being, horrifyingly demonic, attacking. And it turned out we're sharing the dreams, like seeing each other in these so-called dreams. So
wait.
Yeah.
Now, is there a possibility you were having an out-of-body experience, each and every one of you at the same time, being drawn into that one reality?
That's a good way to look at it. I think it had to have been because, I mean, especially with myself and my younger sister, I mean, talking to her about the dreams and like, God, this demon mom came after me and had me cornered and this happened. And she's like, I was there. I saw that. And I was running in this direction. I'm like, yes, you were. So it's like, how could we share in the same so-called dream? So whatever it was still working on us. And I mean, we had those dreams for a very long time. I believe my younger sister still is. So.
Well, that's scary. I mean, if she still is, even to this day, that's gonna be hard on her.
Oh, yeah, not a good feeling. That's for sure.
Do you see a connection between all these? I mean, I know you mentioned kind of in passing that maybe this was a shadow person, or did you say Hat Man?
For this thing,
yeah.
Whatever. It's so strange, but it's like, darkness is darkness, evil is evil, and it's like whether I can really pinpoint like what exactly this darn thing is, whatever it is, it likes to wear my mother's face. It has solid black eyes, and it moves very quick to try to kill you. And on at least two separate occasions, one of my friends, who's a pretty popular psychic, does not like to read her friends, but for some reason, she's like, oh, your mom stopped by. I'm like, don't talk about her. Don't talk about her. Just leave it alone. And lo and behold, that demon mom showed up at her and attacked her.
Oh, my gosh.
Viciously. Yeah.
So your mom's demonic doppelganger shows up.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Sure enough. Yeah, it's really...
how disturbing can you get? I mean, because with the face of your, your dear departed mother. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And, having been 8 years old and then having these dreams, it started right away after she died. And so I'm 8 and my sister is 6, and my sister just ahead of me, we're all having these identical dreams. We didn't want to admit to it. And it wasn't until we were teenagers did we come forward. And I realized my sisters weren't sleeping. I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And one of them started getting really superstitious, knocking on wood, throwing salt over her shoulder. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I heard this could help the nightmares. I'm like, what nightmares? And I'm like, oh my God, we're all having the same ones? I mean, this is like a decade later. Do we realize we're all having the same dreams? It's crazy.
That is crazy, and also it makes sense though. It would use your mother because it knew where to go because you're grieving.
Oh gosh,
It
was terrible. Imagine you just lost your mom. I was 7 when she died, and she's coming in my dreams. It seems so real. It's hard to believe that this isn't really happening. She's got her own arms open, like, we're like, oh my God, Mom, and you're running to her, and it's got black demon eyes, and it's got these, the Stephen King's It teeth, and it's trying to kill you.
How sadistic is that?
Oh, goodness.
That would be absolutely just horrible. My good Lord. I mean, I would imagine though you guys are going through this. You guys are living through that same shared dream, which I don't know if it's a dream. I think it was more like a shared out of body experience. I do. I think that you guys entered into that same reality at the same time, and interacted at the same time with that other dimension.
Yeah.
But why do you think it targeted you guys?
Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
I think it's very much falls into the same realm of, how can I say? It's like I had military abductions. I'm like, they knew before I knew how involved I would get into this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever this negative thing was, it knew I was going to go deep into this stuff and may actually help people. And I think that it was planning ahead and trying to slow and stop that in any means it could, in all honesty. So it's like, I don't know. It's like even when I hear and get these letters from people saying, wow, I see the Hat Man every night. He's trying to choke me out. He's trying to kill me and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, you must be one heck of a prize that he's working so darn hard. I'm like, wonder what your future holds. It's not always that the person is so negative that you attracted this thing. It's like you might be just such a bright light that it wants to stomp out your light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it knows you're a future adversary.
Oh yeah.
Take care of it early rather than deal with it later. That would make sense.
Like kill Hitler.
Well, certainly a more positive way of looking at it. That's for sure.
Yeah, preemptive strike, so to speak. You know what I mean? But that's this crazy thing. Now the shadow people have become an absolute worldwide phenomena. It has just exploded. I've noticed that. In fact, I just saw something today on Travel Channel, one of those shows, and they were citing shadow people as doing this and doing that. Oh, it's really seemed to come into the zeitgeist. Does that ever kind of make you bother you a little bit? Because you are the person that did find it, right? We all know that, but they never cite the source. These shows,
no, they don't. It's kind of surprising to me because I was fighting tooth and nail to be taken seriously first off, and instead of being told that, that's from Babylon 5, ooh, the shadows are coming. I mean, literally, I would be at conferences and I heard that sometimes, and it's like, I never would have expected it to go in the way that it has and exploded. Otherwise, I surely would have trademarked from the start.
Right? Yeah, TM that thing.
Yes, because it is really surprising and shocking to me. It's like, how do you say that you've researched something really well and then you don't realize that there is a beginning to it? It's not like it's like people know where Slender Man came from.
Yeah.
They don't go around going, I am the expert on Slender Man. No, Eric Knudsen is.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's the contest guy that from Something Awful. Yeah.
He is. Yeah, and if somebody else sits there and says, no, it was me, it's like, it's so bizarre. And, I had my book copywritten in 97, I wrote it in 97. I had it copywritten in 2000. I did the poor man's copyright like before that, but that's not really acknowledged so much. I was in college. What can you do?
Yeah. Well, yeah. 21 years ago, you wrote about it, and that really predates anyone else talking about it.
Oh yeah.
By a mile.
Yeah.
And so where do they come from, though? I mean, you're the person to ask.
Yeah, how did you formulate, you've given us some background, certainly, of your life. How did you formulate, your assessment and gather your knowledge about shadow people and the Hat Man specifically?
Well, it's so weird, having the haunted past that I did, and I had also witnessed many UFOs, and and having the out-of-body experiences, and I'm like, my God, what is going on in my world? And then because I had seen these unbelievable UFOs, I joined a paranormal UFO discussion group. Actually, it was more of an alien abduction UFO experiencer group, and I had never been abducted or anything like that, but I joined this group, and when I joined this group, I started getting harassed by what I now know to be government people, and it's so strange to say, but I think it kind of stirred the pot that because I joined this group, I started having more experiences of like an alien sort. I've always connected shadow people to be more alien related than people immediately recognize, I guess you could say. And so myself and my college roommate, who was highly religious, she was Pentecostal, didn't believe in anything outside of a straight and narrow Bible. I mean, just on that. And she and I had an encounter with an alien being who, and mind you, we're having like shadow people experiences in the apartment, and she and I had this experience with an alien being that started to define what we were experiencing. And a lot of people don't realize, but when you have people that say they've been abducted by aliens or whatnot, sometimes when they go to be hypnotically regressed, instead of talking about it as an experiencer, sometimes they almost like take the perspective of the being, like the being starts talking through the person who's being hypnotically regressed. It's such a strange phenomena, but not that rare, I guess you could say. And she started having this like being talking through her, and such a resistive person to even acknowledging aliens exist. It was quite amazing, and to have this thing also project an image of itself. If I ever had any doubts, I'm like, I see it with my own freaking eyes, what's going on here. And for like, I guess you could say like being able to read what I'm thinking and things like that, it was so bizarre. But that is how I got a lot of the information that I did in regards to these shadow beings. That still holds true. And other researchers that have now, taken the topic on, they're like, oh my God, it is related to aliens. So it seems so far-fetched, but again, I categorize evil and good. It's like these negative beings respond to the name of Jesus, and so do shadow people. And aliens are seen right alongside of shadow people and the Hat Man. So what is that?
What's the connection? Yeah, what's the connection between them all? We got to run a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the Hat Man, shadow people, and the F word. No, not that F word. The other F word. We'll be right back right after this.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So Daddy's little girl thinks she's going to prom tonight with some punk who calls himself Snake.
Yeah, they grow up so fast.
Well, not if I can help it, they don't.
Okay, here's what you do. When that kid shows up, Dad's going to be doing a few chores around the house.
Huh?
It doesn't matter the chore. What's important is that it requires the use of a 60cc gas-powered chainsaw and possibly a mask.
I think it's showtime.
He's here. Dad, I want you to meet...
All right, let her rip.
What's that, honey? Hi, Snake. Great to meet you. But wait, where are you going?
There's No problem. A little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey? Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
Oh, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as always, he's right. You know, 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Yeah, I know that now.
Thanks to me.
Actually, thanks to Smokey.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Get your Smokey on. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to After Hours AM. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me.
Eric Olson.
And tonight,
I won't say and.
Yeah, right, because she's the guest. And our guest tonight is Miss Heidi Hollis, and she's written several books, but the newest ones are The Other F Word. And there's two versions of The Other F Word. The Other F Word, which is for adults. It's How to Find Faith and Laugh at Yourself While Trying. And then the kids' version is The Pickle Finders, Investigate, the other F word. I really got to move this microphone stand out of the way of my view of my monitor. But those are the two books, and they're both available right now on Amazon. And so check those out, buy them up. I do believe that you guys will love them. I know a lot of other people do. Okay, question, Heidi. When you were going through all this, the shadow people stuff, the whole haunting, how did your family take you seriously? I'm talking about your mom and your mom, dad, and because it happened at a very early age.
Yeah, my stepmom.
Yeah, your stepmom. Mm-hmm. Did they find it hard to swallow, or were they very embracing of it and they understood it?
They experienced it far greater than I did. So
okay. So they were actually more into the trenches than you were as far as the actual phenomena was going.
Little did we know, though. My dad did not let on, first off, and made it seem like, everything was good. My stepmother was like a scared chihuahua, just shaking away because she experienced things right along with us sometimes. And yeah, my dad, I mean, my goodness, he had some of the worst experiences. I'm like, why on earth didn't you tell us? We felt so alone in this. And he's like, if you saw fear in me, you kids wouldn't be able to handle it. It's like,
yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's where that fatherly instinct.
Dad.
Yep, that's the fatherly instinct kicking in. Yep, exactly. So years later, now we're going to fast forward again. I just want to ask that really quickly, how that was with the family dynamic with all that going on, and whether or not your parents, because so often we'll have guests going, well, I was seeing all this and my parents just didn't believe me. But no, it sounds like that they were seeing more and dealing with more than even you kids were, and that seems to be the exception, not the rule, from a lot of the stories we've heard from other people. But
when did they start talking about it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're grown and out of the house.
Oh.
And we're just like, we were so mad at them. We're like, how did you not tell? My dad was like, oh, I hated that place. I was so scared. He's like, do you know what happened to me? It's like, oh my God, oh my God. My stepmother didn't even know. She was so angry at him as well.
Tell us it sounds like there was some sort of experience. What was
it? The worst for him that occurred, he was lying in bed, and this was before my stepmother was in the picture, and it was right soon after my mother had passed. And he's lying in bed, and the door opened. And he tried to get up to look to see who would open up the door, and he found he was paralyzed. And suddenly, he's like, the blankets went up. Something pushed on the bed. It was ice cold, and it was lying next to him. I'm like, was it Mom? He's like, I don't think so, because then I felt like I was being choked.
Oh, my Lord.
Like, she wasn't known for that.
Yeah,
no,
she was no choker.
Known. No, so it was, so it sounded like kind of shadow people-like stuff.
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So I'm like, wow. So that was probably one of the worst for him. I mean, there were others. I witnessed my stepmother in the state of shock with an experience that she had. I came upstairs. I was looking for her, and she was like a statuette. And I was like, what's going on here? I'm like, hey, I wanted to tell you something. And she could barely speak. She couldn't move. And she just said quietly, get me out of here. And I grabbed her by her hand and I literally walked her like a stiff doll down the stairs. And it took her a while to come out of this frozen state. And she told me what happened. This was an older house that we had, and the attics were in the sides of the wall. And the doors screwed on.
Mhm.
You know, it had these like wing nuts.
Sure.
So you had to screw them on pretty good to keep them on there. And she came upstairs. And she saw that the door was off from one of the attic doors. And she's like, well, what the heck? And she put it back up and she screwed it on. She turned to walk away from it and it slammed to the ground. And there was my mom's favorite doll standing in the middle of it, like right in front of the attic door.
That's not creepy at all. No.
Yeah.
No. No, that's what I say. Screw you! I'm out of here. I wouldn't even care. I would just rat out of the house. You guys would never see me ever again.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was. I really think whatever that was, it was just trying to mess with her to make it seem like it was my mother, but it was nothing that. I mean, what mom do you know wants to terrify her 6 and 8-year-old kid?
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't her.
No, generally they don't want to, unless it's a sadistic mother. You know.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know a few mothers that would scare their children. I do.
Oh.
And because it's kind of fun to do so once in a while. But anyhow, tell us about the books. I mean, we've kind of talked about the Hat Man, Shadow Man, Aliens. What about these books? How'd these come about?
Oh my goodness. So for all these years that I've been taking these Shadow People stories and the thousands and the Hat Man stories, I just felt like these people, so oftentimes they're saying, oh my God, I'm seeing this thing constantly. I don't get into that faith thing, but anyways, tell me what I should do. I'm like, I don't know why they would feel so often like they have to tell me, by the way, I'm not religious, so we'll just skip that, but deal with the demon, please,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oftentimes I find they're Catholic, and I couldn't understand, what happened in their background that turned them off to it. I mean, there's a lot of atrocities that the church has done, but who knows, what it is. And I'm like, I find that a lot of people got lost in their faith, or they felt like I don't have it really good, so I might as well just leave it alone. And I'm like, hold on, you're looking into the eyeballs of something so absolutely evil. You'd think that would be convincing enough to know that there's a positive force, the opposite force to what you're looking at. And so I would honestly tell them, it's like, throw a shoe at it then if you don't believe in
Throw a shoe
opposite.
at it.
Throw a shoe.
It's like, if you don't
particularly stinky.
Yeah. Well, one day you haven't used the tough actin Tenactin on. One that's really good and ripe.
Right. It's like, because it's like, okay, you don't believe. And I mean, it's just so far-fetched to me. Like, okay. And I'm like, hold on. These people are doubting themselves. This is why this thing is thriving and why they're begging somebody on the opposite side of the planet to help them out. I'm like, how can I get these people to realize, stop being so hard on yourselves and, find where you're at in your faith and, and why you might have turned your back on some things and try to go to the next level. So I'm like, okay, I had been planning this book for years, and I am not kidding you. I never had so much trouble trying to get a book out.
Mm-hmm.
It was such every time I would put any amount of time in it, I would have just the craziest like accidents and things. And I'm like, wow, this book this is gonna really put a dent in something out there, because I just couldn't believe it. So what essentially every chapter starts with the letter F. There's two words to each chapter, and it's like the first 10 chapters is to find out, where you're at, where's your faith at. So like I have, like faith front. People who bring faith up from every angle and at any time, where every other word is praise, this, that, or the other thing. So it's like this front that people throw out, even though they may not have much behind it,
Yeah. Window dressing.
Yeah, there you go. And then I have a faith fling, when you get faithful only for the time being when it suits you or a situation calls for it. It's like okay, somebody died. Oh Lord, please help me get. It's like these brief little spurts, and I'm like, okay, people again gotta find another way to discover your faith again. So like the last 10 chapters are about building up your faith again. So here, like chapter 12,
well, Heidi, they're going to ask you, faith in what?
Well, that's just it. Faith in God, faith in the higher power, the thing that's got your back in the world.
Okay. So, gotcha. I had to ask because, faith means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Yeah. Well, evil is shadow people, and I feel like I was leaving people hanging in the midst of dealing with this stuff, and I feel like I cheated in my faith because of some of the experiences that I personally have had, and it's like my faith was extremely strong because I doubted faith. I can't say faith. I doubted that Jesus was around, as people would say, like, oh, he's in the tree trunk, oh, he's in the clouds. I just didn't feel that. I felt like he was a historical figure that did his thing, and he'd come back one day to finish it off, So it was like, I don't know. And then I had an unexpected, and I was a skeptic of it, a pretty big skeptic of such things, but I had several encounters with him, and I was like, well, it really perked me back up in my faith angle, and I'm like, well, shoot, if I could only spit out a little piece of what I've experienced and hope that people can understand and learn from that. So I poured everything into this. Oh, and this book, by the way, since I'm a cartoonist, it is full of comics. So it's funny. It points things out. I think that it's a decent guide, and so far I've had a lot of good feedback from people. But to finish up the last 10 chapters, here's the title of one. Chapter 17 is called Faith Face. So when you've really got your faith and it shows and even glows on your face. So it's like those people you meet and you're like, what the heck do they know that I don't, type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like just getting down to it and stop being so tough on yourself that, it's biblical. The size of a mustard seed. If you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. And I'm like, people just need to realize that you're dealing with an old ancient evil that is sweeping this world. I am not kidding you when I say people are experiencing this in droves and have for generations and just didn't have a name for it, Yeah. And it's just getting worse. It's getting so bad. I hear from a lot of kids and grandmas that are like, my goodness, my grandma saw this, It's like, it is really bad. So I wanted to have a version for kids. First off, I did the Fickle Finders Investigates the Other F Word. I did that for kids and expected to hear from kids, and I didn't hear from one. It was all adults who were like, this is awesome. I feel better about my faith. I'm like, well, holy crap. Yeah. I need to do an adult version, and that's where the Other F Word came from. And people go to theotherfword.com. I have both of the books there and kind of explaining them too. But yeah, so I did those to get people's faith a go again and stop,
a bit of a faith tune-up is what you're saying.
Exactly, and have fun with it. And now then the third book I put out, which is kind of a re-release, but it's really an expanded upon. I had just put out this little brief ebook a few months ago, and I had it by a different name, and it was just to show people how to bless their home and how to keep these negative things out, because people weren't understanding always what I was telling them, how to get rid of shadow people and the Hat Man.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so this is book 2, The Hat Man, a guide and comic on how to get rid of dark beings for all ages. So again, it's comical, it's in color, it's in print in color, and also as an ebook. And I people were like, "Oh, I really like this little book. I wish it was longer. I wish it showed more." So I doubled the size of it, and I listened to the people that let me know about the books and how they're taking it. So
sure.
Do you think the crisis? I mean, because it kind of sounds like that in faith, and man, I'm seeing it in my own kids. It seems to be kind of a rite of passage for teenagers who think they're smart. They're afraid of being duped. Their intellectual side says, why would you believe in something like that? Where's the proof? How can I believe in something like that? And yet both of them I know desperately want to believe, but they become afraid to believe because they don't want to be fooled. And it's coming from the intellectual side. And I'm just wondering how often you see that. That to me seems fairly common. When we talked to our minister about it, he said, "Oh man, I mean, I see it all the time." So more teenagers go through that than don't.
Yeah, I don't know why they think there's harm in having this inner feeling. And I think I even mentioned this in the other F Word book. It's like, how cool is it that inside you can have a full about faith in your faith and be so devoted, and people would not be able to tell by looking at you from a distance. Like, it's something you could totally change in an instant and be whatever you want to be. And it's like there's no losing face. There isn't. I mean, you can have this in you and have it about you, and I mean, who are you going to be embarrassed by?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't get it. It's like illogical.
Well, that's the thing with faith, though. Is that's a lot of people have brought this up that it's hard to have faith when evil's everywhere. Well, wait a minute. That is true. It doesn't take much faith to find evil, but it sure takes a lot of faith to find good. And why is that? Why has, in your opinion, has God not shown up like He has in the Old Testament, going, "I am here. You will listen to me." You know what I mean? A grand spectacle to maybe
a burning bush.
Exactly, to get people back into the faith group.
Eric, you killed me.
Exactly, the burning bush.
He threw in a freaking burning bush. So, you know what? This is the amazing thing. Ever since I put out my book, Jesus is No Joke, that's all I kept telling people, because I couldn't believe that, He's alive, He's around. Oh my God, the man spoke to me. And it was so many people who wrote me, especially in the beginning when I put that book out, who said, "I saw him too. Oh my God, you too?" And then these stories started flooding in. And it's like, he's active. What is he doing? It's like, I bumped into Jewish people who are like, "I saw Jesus." And it's like, there's what's it called? A whisper or wind in the house of Islam. There's a big, I don't know, a movement of Muslims in the Middle East who are experiencing Jesus and seeing Jesus. It's like, what? I mean, it's all over their community boards online. It's in books, and it's not like Jesus shows up once. He keeps coming every night until they go and look into him.
So what were your experiences? I mean, you got to tell us. I mean, what a fundamental, life-changing experience.
Oh, just unbelievable. It definitely wiped away all my doubts of everything, because I had my faith, but I didn't think He was active and, looking and seeing what we're up to. Mm-hmm. But the first encounter that I had with Him, I was in college, and I worked at 5 a.m. until noon, and then I'd go to my class. So I'd come home and I'd take a nap, and then I'd go to school. And I told my college roommate, I'm like, "Turn your TV down, I'm taking a nap." Okay, it's like it was still summertime and whatever, and so I went into my bedroom, and you get on your bed and you get comfortable and you're like, move your blankets or whatever. So I went to go lay on my bed, and I hit the floor.
Wow.
I missed my bed. I'm like, boom. I'm like, whoa, how the heck did I miss the bed? I'm like, oh my God. I'm so like, thinking my roommate's going to come running in like, what the heck? What was that sound? And I'm getting up. I'm like, whoo. And I stand up, and I'm not in my bedroom. It was that abrupt. And I'm looking, and I'm like trying to figure out, like, I was so confused at first. I'm like, what am I doing? Where am I? And I'm looking around. I'm in front of my parents' home. And I'm like, I'm trying to make sense. Why am I standing in front of my parents' house?
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, I was going to meet up with a friend, a family friend. His name is Quincy. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden, my parents live in the country, so they have a long driveway. And I see this man walking up the driveway, and I'm like, oh, there goes Quincy. Yeah, I am here to meet him. I was going to. And it almost instantly recognition slapped me like, oh, that's not him. It was like every cell in my body screamed, it's Jesus. And I mean, being my silly self, I put my face in my hands and I'm like looking at like that. This is happening. I'm like looking around. This man walks right up in front of me, and I'm looking down. I still have my face in my hands, and I hear him say hello, like he's going to talk about the weather or something. And I'm like, hello. And he said, do you know who I am? You would not hesitate to say it if you knew. And if you knew who I was, you would not hesitate to say it. That's what he said. And I stuttered, and I pulled my hands away from my face, and I'm looking up at him. I'm like, well, you're Jesus. And I don't speak Spanish. I'm like, I don't know why I called him Jesus. And he said, yes, I am. And when I looked at him, I mean, I saw, it was like so stereotypical. I saw the white robe. It was kind of off-white. I saw the shoulder-length hair. I saw bright light coming from behind his head that shadowed his face. And I'm just like, I'm still my silly self going, is this happening? I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm touching the ground going, you are here, Heidi. This is really going on. And he starts talking about his life and how so much needed to be done. And I'm still battling my wits of, I am here. I can't believe this guy. It is him. And he stops talking. And I feel like I just got busted for not paying attention because my battle. And I turned up, then I turned my face from him, and I'm stuttering. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? And just the thought just before that too, when the ground was so close to me, I couldn't understand why it was so close to me as I'm touching it. And I realized I was on my knees, and I didn't realize I had gone on my knees in front of him. Oh. And so it was really moving. And he helped me stand up, and he said, first you need to show us some things. And he said, don't worry what others say. He said, I needed to finish my book. That was the Secret War book. And he said, don't worry what others say. Know that I'll be there to give you the words. And I mean, it was a bit lengthier than what I'm telling you now, but it was just amazing. But I put it in my book, Jesus is No Joke. And honestly, if I didn't have the encounters that I did, there is no way I would be able to be standing up against things like the Hat Man and shadow people and be able to sleep at night.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing.
It's all amazing. So what reality do you think that was? Where do you think you actually were with that encounter?
You know, it's so weird. It felt like I was transported there in an instant. But when I came back, I was in the bed. Like, I didn't hit the floor. I was surprised by that. I really was. So I guess I was projected there somehow. I don't know. I've never had anything quite like that. So I just don't know how to categorize it.
So he summons you to where he is to tell you to finish your book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this book obviously is a big deal. I mean, it's Jesus approved, for crying out loud.
Oh, Lord, I never thought of it like that. But you know what? The
better than the FDA.
Yeah,
it's so silly.
Jesus tested, Jesus approved. I mean, come on.
But you know, the book was written.
Out of 5 Jesus is approved.
The book was already written. I was just like editing it here and there, waiting on. It took me 2 months to write it and 4 years to get it published, and it was just crazy. So I was just like putzing and editing here and there, and I had a chapter where I was being a skeptic about people who claim to see Jesus, because the book is more like on the topic of spiritual warfare, and shadow people and these alien beings and what's going on. So it kind of reads along the lines of good versus evil. So it was, I would have never thought that it would, traverse the world or whatever and make a difference the way that it has. But it's been really rewarding. I wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah. How long has that book been out now? It's been quite a while, right?
I put it out in 2001.
So yeah, it's been out there a long time. A lot of people have read it. It's still available, right? You can get it at Amazon, ebook form, and get a hardcover as well. Am I correct?
I took it out of hardcover
darn you.
I'm gonna put it back in it, but the copies that are out there, I found people selling them for like $250. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Is that crazy? I'm like, what? Jeez, I've got plenty of them here at my place. I just haven't sold them. I don't know. But they'll go back into print at some point. And well, if people want the origin story to Shadow People and the Hat Man, that hopefully it'll be in a theater near you at some point.
It'd make for a heck of a show, a heck of a movie. That origin story.
Yes.
So we're almost
thinking how cinematic all this is.
Exactly, definitely. We're almost out of time, and Heidi, what? Holy crap, we had no idea.
How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Well, they just pray and say, "No, I'm just kidding."
Yeah, you'll transport to them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. If they go to HeidiHollis.com or the OutlandersComic.com, and they could just write me there, and I really do answer all the emails that come in, and it's like I'm always appreciative that people trust me to share their experiences. It's like, who am I to judge? I'm talking about Jesus and aliens and demons. I mean, so people feel comfortable, like, okay, all right, I'm not weird. This girl's talking about the whole thing, so and I think I look sane mostly. So yeah.
Well, the book that is The Other F Word: How to Find Your Faith and Laugh at Yourself While Trying. That's the adult version. The kids is The Fickle Finders Investigates the Other F Word. So pick them both up, Amazon. You can order them right now, and definitely pick that up and hit up Heidi and say, hey, I love the book.
And the Hat Man
and the Hat Man book, and there's Secret War, and there's all sorts of them out there. Just look her up on Amazon. Her entire body of work is all right there for you. I highly suggest you buy each and every copy. So until next time, everyone, take care of each other, love each other. Merry Christmas! Enjoy the time with your family.
Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Yep, anytime. Till next time, guys. Check out the Hat Man stuff. It's kind of cool. Thank you for listening to this edition of After Hours AM, and please remember to like us on Facebook and also follow us over on Twitter. This show has been produced by Midwest Radio Production.